What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC Vegas 43. We have Miesha Tate going against Ketlen Vieira. Should be a very interesting card. Maybe not the best main event in the world, but I think it's a really fun card actually, with a lot of great fights on it. So definitely looking forward to it. Looking forward to bouncing back after a tough week last week. And as always, we start with the fight doesn't go to decision lines. Before we do so, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, that'd be much appreciated. Going live Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, and then live once more 1 hour prior to the prelims. The prelims start at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Me and the guys will be going live at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. So, fight doesn't go to decision lines. Had a ton of finishes last week, a lot of them out of nowhere. I think we're going to get a decent amount of finishes this week. The one up top, we have Zion McKinney, minus 240. Fight doesn't go to decision, and a lot of people might think that's wide because Zion, he's been to 3 decisions thus far in the UFC, but McKinney is a killer be killed fighter. He's never been to decision. He's only been to the third round once. He's never been over the 1.5 round mark. He's somebody that gets in and he gets out, whether he's winning or whether he's losing. And although Zion has not shown a ton of power, a ton of finishing ability in the UFC, he's still a finisher, a 75% finish rate in his career, 33% by knockout, 42% by submission. And I feel like if McKinney does not get Zion out of there early, that Zion can probably get a late finish in his own right. So yeah, this is a fight that I'm going to be targeting very heavily. I do like the McKinney side slightly more, although he's more expensive at $8,400. But I feel like if there is a finish in this fight, I feel like it could be both sides. But I'm more comfortable with saying that if there is a finish, I think it'll more likely be on the McKinney side. But yeah, Zion's a great underdog, 7,800 as well. I think this fight does finish one way or another. Next, we have Adrian Yanez going against Davey Grant, a fight that I do see finishing. I wouldn't be shocked if it went to decision, but Grant's been looking very good as of late. His striking's much improved, showing a ton of power, an 85% finish rate on the Grant side. Yanez a great finisher in his own right, 78% finish rate, 64% of those finishes coming by knockout. So yeah, both guys good finishers. Yanez actually has never been finished in 17 fights. Whereas Davey Grant's been finished in 4 out of his 5 losses, 4 coming by submission. And yeah, I really do like Yanez here, 9,100. I think he's going to be the better striker. His takedown defense is really good. He's a black belt in BJJ. I think that's very important to note there. I think if he's able to keep this on the feet, it's going to be Yanez all day. And even if Davey Grant does go to his wrestling, his grappling, I don't know how successful he's going to be. So yeah, more on the Yanez side here, 9,100. I'll have some Grant, just because he has been surprising a lot of people winning as an underdog, but I really do like Yanez in this matchup. So give me Yanez here at 9,100. Sean Brady going against Michael Chiesa. And yeah, Sean Brady a little bit on the expensive side, especially when you take a look at the line. We see Michael Chiesa is only like plus 130, plus 135. So yeah, I think there's a lot of value in terms of the line for Michael Chiesa at 7,300. But yeah, Sean Brady, 8,900. He's going to bring a lot of volume on the feet. The problem with that is you take a look at Chiesa's fights, and opponents aren't really landing on him because his fights more than likely are going to play out in like grappling scenarios, and this one is probably going to as well. Yeah, lots of question marks on the Brady side. How good is his takedown defense against someone not named Court McGee? How good is he off his back? How good is his get-up game? I don't know because I have not seen it, but I think we're going to get a lot of questions answered here against Michael Chiesa. So, yeah, I'm more inclined to actually play the Chiesa side here, 7,300. If he does win, it's going to be takedowns. It's going to be control time. Like I said, we've never seen Brady off of his back. Maybe he can get stuck off his back there. But, yeah, I kind of do like the Chiesa side here, 7,300. But, yeah, if Sean Brady does win, I think it's going to actually be a submission. Sean Brady is a legit black belt in BJJ, and we do see that when Chiesa is losing, it is by submission. Chiesa has 4 submission losses, so I do think that's definitely in play. But yeah, Sean Brady only has a 50% finish rate. So yeah, a fight that I think could finish, but I would definitely not be shocked if it didn't. If I do have to make a pick here, it would be Chiesa, especially at 7,300, but I think Sean Brady's live for a submission. Next, we have a fun one. Sean Soriano going against Shalian Nerdin-Beke. Both guys are finishers. Soriano a 79% finish rate, 50% of his wins by knockout. Shalian with a 47% knockout rate, 26% by submission, a 73% finish rate as a whole. We take a look at if these guys are getting finished, and yes, they are. Sean Soriano has been finished in 5 of his 6 losses, 5 coming by submission. Shalian, apparently, he's a black belt in BJJ. I don't know how legit that is, but he is a black belt nonetheless, and he's a very good wrestler as well. So we see Sean Soriano, when he does struggle in his fights, it's because his opponents are taking him down, and his opponents are submitting him. So I actually think Shalian has a path to victory here at 7,200. He's somebody I'm going to be looking out for sure as a dog. And then as far as Sean Soriano, again, this guy has so much power, and I do think he's going to have a massive striking advantage here. Shalian's very hittable. Shalian has been knocked out before. Shalian has been finished in 5 of his 7 losses. I think someone actually does get finished here, and I will be sprinkling both sides. I think Sean Soriano has knockout upside at 9,000. I think Shalian has takedown upside, control time upside, and maybe even submission upside at a crazy price of 7,200. So a fight I'm definitely going to keep my eye on. Getting into our core plays, Adrian Yanez talked about him a little bit, 9,100. I think he's going to finish Davy Grant here. Davy Grant has never been knocked out, but he has been dropped several times. I really do question his chin. Davy Grant is now 35 years old, almost 36 years old. I think Yanez is going to be the much better striker in this fight. I think he does clip Davy Grant, maybe a club and sub, or maybe is the first person to knock him out. At 9,100, I like it. I feel like he's safe. He's going to get a lot of volume, and I do think a finish is likely. So give me Adrian Yanez here at 9,100. Miesha Tate, 8,300. Yeah, very close fight. If this fight was 3 rounds, I'd probably be all over Ketlen Vieira. The only problem is Vieira's gas tank is very questionable. She's somebody that slows down a lot as the fight goes on in 3-round fights, so I can't imagine what it's going to look like in a 5-round fight. With those extra 2 rounds, I expect Tate to, lose the fight initially, but I think she's going to take over as the fight goes on and potentially get a late finish here. But either way, it's a 5-round fight. You're going to want both sides, but yeah, Tate is my preferred play because it is a 5-round fight. Terrence McKinney, 8,400. I'm going to have a ton of this fight, but I think McKinney is more likely to finish early as well. When you take a look at a lot of McKinney's wins, they are in the first round. I think he has like 1 win outside of the first round, so it's safe to say if he does win, there's a good chance that it is early and in the first round. He's has slate-breaking potential for sure, so he's somebody I'm going to have a ton of. But on the flip side, I will have some Zion as well because, like I said earlier, McKinney is a killer-be-killed fighter that has never seen the scorecards, and I do not think that changes here. And then we have Taila Santos, 9,200. And I like Santos here quite a bit. I think she's safe. She's going to be in my cash lineup for sure. I think tournament, she's fine. I don't think she has like a crazy ceiling, but I think she has a great floor. Joanne Calderwood, her takedown defense is very questionable, sitting at 63%. Taila Santos, she is completing takedowns at an 86% accuracy. That is absolutely unheard of. I know her competition has been questionable. Fighters like Molly McCann, Roxanne Modafferi, fighters like that, Jillian Robertson, but that's still like so impressive. She's going to be the stronger fighter. Her wrestling's very good. Calderwood probably does out-volume her on the feet, but Santos is going to be landing the harder shots. I think if Santos comes in here with the game plan of getting this fight down to the mat early and often, I think she dominates this fight, racking up multiple takedowns and racking up a ton of control time. I don't think she gets a finish, so I think the ceiling is limited, but I feel like she's very safe at 9,200. Moving on to our GPP plays here, our tournament plays. We have Luana Pinheiro sitting at 9,300. She is the most expensive fighter on the slate, and yeah, if she wins, there's actually a good chance that it's in the first round, and there's actually a good chance she scores a ton here. I mean, we saw what she did in the first round against Randa Marcos, getting 5 takedowns, landing a ton of strikes. And yeah, if she finishes Sam Hughes in the first round, she's probably going to be in the optimal lineup. If we take a look at Pinheiro, she's won her last 7 fights in the first round. So maybe that could be the case here. We see that Sam Hughes has been finished before. She's been finished in 2 of her 3 losses, 1 by sub, 1 by TKO. So yeah, I think Pinheiro is a really interesting play. I do think she'll be somewhat high owned, but for a very good reason. I think this is kind of a mismatch. But with that said, if Pinheiro does not get Sam Hughes out of the early, I do have some question marks about her cardio there, but at 9,300, a fighter that has a legit path to finishing in the first round is something I'm going to take a lot of shots on. Sean Soriano, 9,000. Somebody that I don't mind here. Like I said, this guy has a ton of power. He's going to have a massive striking advantage, competition advantage, more experienced guy in terms of UFC caliber fighters. Shalian actually has more fights, but yeah, Sean Soriano, if he's able to keep this upright, he probably does knock out Shalian. The only problem is, again, that takedown defense is really bad. The submission defense is really bad. So, yes, there's a very good chance that he could be taken down, submitted. But if not, he probably does get a knockout here. I see someone getting finished one way or another. So, Sean Soriano, a very nice tournament play for me. Cody Durden, 8,600. Yeah, I like Durden here as far as a tournament play. He's 8,600. He actually has a 90% finish rate, which is one of the best on the slate. 45% by knockout, 45% by submission. We see that Iori has been submitted in 3 times. 3 of his losses, Iori has been submitted. So yeah, Cody Durden, if he's able to get this fight down to the mat, possible submission there. And then on the feet, he has a ton of power as well. So yeah, don't mind some Cody Durden as far as the tournament play goes at 8,600. He can also mix in takedowns as well. I guess the only concern I have with Durden is he does slow down a lot as the fight goes on. A lot of his fights do finish early, so that could be a possibility as well. But yeah, Durden 8,600 makes for a solid tournament play, I'd say. Pat Sabatini, 8,700. Yeah, there's a ton of line value here on the other side for Tucker Lutz. It looks like it's closing up almost to a pick'em at this point. But yeah, Pat Sabatini, 8,700. This guy's a finisher. This guy's a legit BJJ black belt. If he's able to get Tucker Lutz down to the mat in any type of way, a submission is very, very live. Tucker Lutz has been finished in his only loss by knockout. That was his very first fight in his MMA career. But yeah, Sabatini, if he gets it down to the mat, whether he does take down Tucker Lutz, who does have a very good takedown defense, or whether Tucker Lutz takes down Pat Sabatini, Sabatini is going to be live for a sub, but I do think he needs that submission to pay off this price tag of 8,700. I am on the other side a little bit more, but Pat Sabatini is a very dangerous fighter. And then Sean Brady, 8,900. I really hate the price tag here, but we see that Chiesa has been finished in all 5 of his losses, 4 by submission. Brady's a legit black belt in BJJ, so would it shock me if Brady submitted Chiesa? Absolutely not. So that's a path to victory. I just really question the price tag here. I think it should be a lot closer. But if Brady does win, I think it scores somewhat decent, especially if he can get an early submission there. Live dogs, Tucker Lutz, 7,500. So yeah, he's going to have the striking advantage here. I really love the output of Tucker Lutz. He's somebody that's been making massive improvements each and every fight. He looked phenomenal in his UFC debut. His takedown defense is on point, has a wrestling background, 84% takedown defense in a 3-fight sample. If Pat Sabatini's not able to get this fight down to the mat, which Pat Sabatini has struggled in getting fights down to the mat thus far in his 2 fights with only a 16% accuracy, I think Tucker Lutz is going to piece him up on the feet for 3 rounds. I also think that Tucker Lutz can mix in takedowns, but I would not really recommend doing that unless it's like late in the round, maybe, shoot in for a takedown to seal a round off. I think that could be possible, but if I was Tucker Lutz, I would stuff these takedowns, keep it on the feet, and outstrike Sabatini, 7,500. I think you're getting a lot of line value. Like I mentioned earlier, this fight is closing to be, almost a pick'em at this point. So yeah, I don't mind Tucker Lutz, 7,500 as a dog shot there. Michael Chiesa, 7,300. If he does win, I think it's going to be a very wrestling-heavy game plan. As long as he does not get submitted, I feel like he could potentially take down Sean Brady. Sean Brady's never been taken down, but he's never fought Michael Chiesa. I think if Chiesa is able to get this fight down to the mat, he could potentially control Sean Brady. Chiesa's fought the much better competition, and it's really not even close, whereas Sean Brady is having a competitive fight with like a Court McGee. So yeah, it's definitely a fight where, I wouldn't be shocked if Brady did submit Chiesa, but if Brady's not able to get Chiesa out of there, I could see a scenario where Chiesa is able to kind of grind out Sean Brady for 3 rounds. So yeah, 7,300, I think there's a ton of value on that line. Ketlen Vieira, 7,900. I think she's the better fighter. I really do in this fight. The only problem is I think she's the better fighter for about 3 or about 2 rounds probably, but she does slow down so much as the fight goes on. And in a 5-round fight, that just seems like a recipe for disaster. If this was 3 rounds, I'd be all over Vieira here, but the only problem is it's 5 rounds. We've seen her slow down massively, multiple times in 3-round fights. So yeah, I think the 5 rounds definitely does favor Tate. I don't know if Vieira is going to get Tate out of there, potentially. Not likely. So yeah, I'm more on the Tate side myself, but I will have some Vieira at 7,900. Farazim, 7,800. Yeah, a fight I'm going to be heavily targeted on. It's probably my second highest owned fight behind the main event. And yeah, I think Zion, like I said, he's a finisher. He's not shown that yet in the UFC, but Terrence McKinney has been finished in all 3 of his losses. I think there's a very good chance that Zion, if he weathers the storm, McKinney slows down. I think Zion can get a finish in his own right. 7,800. I think he's going to be the less popular of the 2 in this fight between him and McKinney. McKinney's going to be one of the most popular plays on the slate, and for a very good reason. But I think Zion, if he does win, I think it will be a finish. All right. Moving to our pump play. Shalion Nurden Beke, 7,200. He's not good. This guy is not good, but Sean Soriano, stylistically, he could present some problems to him. Soriano has a 53% takedown defense in 4 UFC fights. 3 of those UFC fights were a while ago, but still, ever since then, it doesn't look like he's improved much in his takedown defense. Probably a little bit, but he's still getting submitted outside of the UFC by guys. This is a guy in Sean Soriano who's been submitted a massive 5 times. Shalion is a black belt in BJJ. I don't know how legit that is, but he's a black belt nonetheless. He's a very solid wrestler, and he could present some problems here. He really could. So yeah, I don't hate some shots on Shalion. Again, he's not the best fighter in the world, but stylistically, I really don't get why this line's so wide. So yeah, I'll take some Shalion if he can go out there, implement a wrestling of a game plan. I think he's very live to win. And then we'll go to my fade Luma Luke Boonmi. 7,400. She's not going to go for takedowns, maybe a couple, but she's not going to, follow up with those takedowns, maybe some trips here and there. She's going to throw a decent amount of volume. She's not going to get a knockdown. She's not going to get a knockout. She's not a finisher. We see that Luma, I believe she has maybe one finish in her entire career. Luma has, one finish by KO in her entire career. Loopy's never been KO'd. Loopy's never been subbed. I think Luma, if she does win, it's not going to score a ton. So yeah, 7,400. I think there's much, much more dogs on the slate that I'd rather play. I'd rather play a Tucker Lutz. I'd rather play a Shalion. I'd rather play even like a Ronnie Yaya, a Rafa Garcia, a Farah Zayam. I'd rather play an Iori. I'd rather play a Davey Grant. I'd rather play a Chiesa. I'd rather play a Vieira. Pretty much I'd rather play a lot more than Luma Luke Boonmi here at 7,400. If it was a slate where we needed some dogs, yeah, maybe sure I'd play some of her, but I think there's just so many dogs that I don't mind. Some other fighters that I did not really touch on. Davey Grant as a pump play is fine, 7,100. If he does win, could be the first person to knock out Yanez. Grant has been on a roll as of late outside of that Vera fight. Other than that, Iori Kulang, 7,600, could be an interesting dog here. He throws a ton of volume, but he does get hit a lot. He's going to have the cardio advantage in this fight. Maybe he could finish third and late. And I think other than that, Rafa Garcia is 7,700. He's actually the favorite at 7,700, so I think he's interesting. But I think that is about it. So yeah, lots of plays do stick out this week. I think it's going to be a very fun and interesting week. I feel like it's a week where you can leave a lot of salary on the table as well, because there's so many live dogs that it is crazy. But yeah, I do want to remind you guys, it's always a great time to become a member of the Patreon to receive full access to my model. You have all the stats you need for every single fight. Uncle Weezy provides the FanDuel and DraftKings stats as well. Shout out to him. The premium projections are already out. The lineup optimizer, which is an absolute game changer, that is set up. All the projections are in there, and the lineup percentages as well. DraftKings article comes out on a Thursday or a Friday, and then also access to Discord. Very active Discord, great group of guys in there. So yeah, that's about it, guys. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. It's much, much appreciated. And good luck for UFC Vegas 43. Let's make some money on Saturday. See you.